Good morning. Mr. Guthrie, I commend the work you've done in Florida to strengthen your state's capacity to respond to disasters quickly and effectively and to thereby mitigate and minimize the threat to life and property. Unfortunately, my own state, California, has not been quite so forward-looking in terms of its disaster response capabilities, and this was put on shocking display for the whole world with the recent tragic, catastrophic fires in Los Angeles, as we bore witness to an empty reservoir, to fire hydrants that wouldn't release water, and other basic failures of preparedness for which the residents of Los Angeles are now paying such a high price. So do you have, number one, some best practices that you might share with our state for how it can do better in the future? And number two, thoughts on how the ongoing effort to reform FEMA might actually itself help to spread those sort of practices?
Thank you, Congressman, for the question. First and foremost, in Florida, we do not respond based on whether or not we're going to get federally reimbursed. The governor of the state of Florida, the legislature support emergency management holistically, and they expect us to respond not worrying about if we're going to get reimbursed or not. Unfortunately, not every state, every city or county has that option. They have to wait to respond to see if they're going to meet a threshold or so on to seek FEMA reimbursement. I think another thing that was very, very obvious to me in that particular disaster is you had the local officials such as the fire chief, sheriff, and things of that nature, but nowhere on that dais or that podium did you see the emergency manager. They were treating it as, in my opinion, sir, they were treating it as still a fire. They were treating it still as a traffic issue. They had a much more complex issue, and I know that Nancy, the California State Director, was involved, but again, emergency management was not there on the day. The Los Angeles County Emergency Management Director was buried in the back. I never saw the City of Los Angeles Emergency Management Director. And this is more of a systemic problem across the country in that what is emergency management? That's something our own National Emergency Managers Association is grappling with, and we're going to try to help define for Congress and others in the future is what is emergency management, that we could all agree that this is what emergency management does. But I think those are some of the issues. As far as FEMA goes, I know that the Regional Administrator, Bob Fenton, was there, and he was heavily involved during that time frame in the Hearst fire that you speak of. FEMA was present. However, again, state managed, getting it to the point where you can get that state involvement very early on, working with your local emergency managers to push funding down, start doing the things. For example, in the Hearst fire, they got paralyzed, the attorneys paralyzed that response, worried about the environmental hazard that was going on to clean up the debris. We deal with that every single day across this country. We know what to do. Let us separate it. Let us put it in the appropriate landfill, tier 1, 2, or 3, based on the hazardous material, and let us move forward. Do not stop the operation because there's hazardous material. We deal with that every single day.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great insight. And I should mention the individuals you mentioned, Mr. Fenton, Ms. Ward, would work well with my office. It's clearly a systemic issue here that we need to reform. Mr. Curry, a question I had for you is that the grants, some of the grants that FEMA makes available for sort of pre-disaster efforts, like the BRIC grants, the PDM grants, they don't allow for pre-disaster water infrastructure for fire suppression to be an eligible use. So, fire hydrants, upgrading lines, tanks, that would actually sort of be critical in some cases for immediate response. And this is important for several communities I represent that are at high fire risk, such as the Tahoe Basin. So, and in fact, the Calder fire, which is 2021, one of the factors that was cited for why it didn't ultimately engulf communities in South Tahoe was that there was the availability of water infrastructure for fire suppression. So why is it that that's not an eligible use, and is that something you think we ought to change?
Yeah, what I've found over the years is that a lot of times when people say it's not eligible under FEMA, it's just because it was not approved. There's not a law or a requirement that says they can't do it. All these mitigation programs rely on the state or the local government to provide a justification or a benefit cost analysis to FEMA, and then FEMA decides based on all the other project requests it's getting if it meets their threshold. And then in that case, they didn't. It's not that it's not allowed, it's just that, and this is a very common problem with these mitigation issues. These are very complicated projects, and FEMA oftentimes, the paperwork required to get the approvals is just extremely difficult. And if you're a large county or a large state with the capacity to do that, then you might have the resources to put that together. If you're a smaller county or a tribe or something like that, you don't have the resources to put a good justification together, so you don't get the funding.
I know we're a little over time here, but just to clarify, are you saying that for PDM and BRIC grants that is an eligible use? It's just a matter of where the threshold is set, or is, is there
I'll go back
change
and
in law needed?
I'll go back and check on the requirement. I'm just saying that what I've found is a lot of times when it's deemed ineligible or it's not approved, it's because FEMA, it doesn't meet some sort of cost benefit threshold, as opposed to that specific kind of project not being able to be approved. It's just they haven't demonstrated that the benefits are going to exceed the cost.
Okay, thank you. I yield back.